No, and I think
case.
that's the family culture piece, which you're big on in terms of like, you've influenced me a lot in terms of thinking about this, like, what do we do as a family, and like, how do we, so, if it's like 4:45 and dinner's at 5:30, Aya waits for dinner, like that's fine. But if it's like 3:00 in the car on her way home from school, there's a snack, because, she hasn't eaten since lunchtime. It's been a couple of hours, like she's growing, food is good, and it can be anything from, like a mandarin to a elaborate thing that I've made. It just totally depends on the day. So I just think that to me is like, that just makes sense. It's like common sense. It works. It means that I don't have a meltdown kid. It means, we have a pleasant drive home. She's sweet to her brother. It's easy, So I think those are the things where I'm like, yeah, like how do we unpick like what is something, like I want children, especially when they're older, but I'm also like, I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and having a completely peaceful and organized mealtime is not the most realistic thing I can have. Like, yes, maybe we'll get 10 minutes where everyone's sitting down and eating, but then invariably the toddler's, standing up, or the baby's standing up, and Aya's, wants to talk about something, and we're talking about adult things, like there's always something. So I just think we're at the stage, but we're setting like the rhythm and the routine. And that's where Janet Lansbury and Steiner both speak to this. And I think that's like, to me, root. And, this is very Taoist. It's very Ayurvedic. It's very like all of these traditions that, it's the circadian rhythms and like the infradian rhythms and the ways in which each day is shaped, that like, I was just in the bathroom before we started, and there's that Taoist clock, of all the organs and the times of day and what, activities to do that we got from Yost, and it's like kids love that stuff. They love knowing the rhythm and the routine. They love knowing what's coming next. They love participating in that. And yeah, like if I don't make dinner, like I think it's happened a couple of times in our entire life, but last night was a good example. We went to a party and there was no dinner, and I ate like some sushi in the car, but we got home and she was like, oh, we haven't had dinner, like, and we haven't done, like she's really aware that we've missed a really important part of our family flow. And it's like that's something that they really hook onto and connect to. So I think, yeah, like you decide what works for you, and I think everyone can decide that. We luckily live in a time where that societal pressure isn't as strong. And yeah, little kids, we eat early, like we go to bed early, but then when they're older, I hope to sit up late with them, and like that'll be different. So
if they were like just simple, I mean, I know like we probably like we're chomping at the bit of astrology and Steiner should get there, but in terms of the practical ones, that I think you just said that, what comes next, that was a big one. Maybe we used to explain to like, I'd be like, but I want to do this. It's like, no, you got to do this and then this and then and I was just like, I just get too heady, and to be able to say to her, after we eat, we take our plate up.
Yeah.
After we take our plate up, we do this, and have like that chronological order.
I'm like, it has to go on the right side of the sink because that's where the dirty dishes go, and that's been a training process, right? But we also use visual cues. Like we bought that thing that had all of the, like for her morning routine and stuff and her nighttime routine. And I love that. It was this little magnet thing, and she stuck all of her, she chose her flow. And we'd be like, hey, have you done your morning routine or your nighttime routine? And she'd go and do it. And, like, yes, she needs our help sometimes, but she's a little kid, like that's fine. And that's the thing, those kind of things I think really build. I mean, again, it's building their will, it's building their discipline, but to expect them to have it immediately, I think is a bit silly. I'm 37 and still not super disciplined sometimes, so it's like, yeah, I just want to meet them there. And yeah, I think that's something where I think Steiner's work is really helpful, because when you look at the rhythm of a day, the rhythm of a week, the rhythm of a year, and honoring the seasons and honoring those stages of life as we move through them, I think that's where I see like that it gives them context within a bigger picture of like meaning and time. And it's not like linear time so much as that cyclical time. And I think for children especially, like, and I remember as a kid, time really doesn't hold a lot of meaning when you're young. Like I remember summers felt like they went for years, and, school day could feel like it, like everything just felt very ephemeral and hard to pin down. And so I think for them, like those, it's why kids love holidays and Christmas. And yes, there's a gift aspect, but it's also these, it's these big things that punctuate their lives. So, and I've noticed that with Aya, like the moon rituals, the the solstice, like she knows those things. And yeah, I think that's really helpful to them in terms of framing out their lives as well.